You're going to see something that looks impossible. Two drivers arrive at the same corner, same speed, same tires, same fuel load, and yet one of them stops the car like it hit an invisible wall, rotates, and leaves the other guy still sliding forward like his brakes just got downgraded to suggestions. Because in the 2026 era, braking won't just be a skill, it'll be a weapon. And if you want the uncomfortable truth, Max Verstappen might be the most dangerous man on the grid because of what 2026 cars are about to punish and reward. Everyone thinks 2026 is about the engines, the electric split, the politics, the new era. But here's what nobody is talking about. When the cars change this much, the best advantage isn't horsepower, it's the last 15 meters before the apex. That's where races get stolen. And Max lives there. Because 2026 is bringing active aero, a completely different energy story, narrower tyres, and a new way of fighting on track that forces drivers to manage grip like it's a limited currency, not a guarantee. So if you still think late braking is just a highlight reel move, you're about to be shocked. Here's the reveal within the first minute. The 2026 power unit rules give the MUK a massive role, with electric power output capped at 350 kW. And that changes how the car approaches corners, how it harvests, and how drivers set up overtakes. And now ask yourself this. If the car is asking you to drive with energy strategy every lap, who wins? The guy who brakes normally? Or the guy who can brake late, stabilize the car instantly, rotate it on command, and still be precise enough to not cook the tires or ruin the exit? Exactly. Max Verstappen. And I know what some of you are already typing. Max isn't even a late braker. He's smooth. That's the point. The myth is that Verstappen is just some chaos merchant who wins by braking later than physics allows. But a lot of technical observers have pointed out that Max's priority is car stability and rotation, not blindly brake as late as possible. He's not gambling, he's controlling the car's balance with surgical timing, and 2026 might reward that more than any era we've seen. And yes, smart viewers already know what happens next. This is the part where you quietly subscribe before the rest of the internet figures out why braking will decide the 2026 title fight. Because once the mainstream starts yelling about it, the advantage is gone. Now let's build the tension. Because 2026 is being sold as more racing, more action, more overtakes, but the details hiding underneath are brutal. Decisive is out, and the sport is leaning into new concepts like active aero and overtake mode, boost mode language, meaning cars will have different configurations for grip and speed. And drivers will be making choices that used to be automated. Translation? More responsibility on the driver. More opportunities to mess up. More chances for the elite to dominate the average. And that is where the late braking conversation becomes terrifying. Because late braking isn't just brake later. It's braking later while still being accurate enough to hit the rotation point, manage the weight transfer, and not lock up when the car is lighter, twitchier, and running narrower tyres. Now let's hit a pattern interrupt. If 2026 is supposed to make overtaking easier, why are teams desperately obsessed with control again? Because the cars are thinner, lighter, and designed to shed drag. But that also means the grip window gets more sensitive. And when the grip window is sensitive, braking becomes the moment where confidence turns into panic. One tiny misread, one extra meter, one imperfect pedal release, and you're either locking up or you're forced to brake early like you're driving in the rain. And that's not a driver error, that's a championship tax. Here's what nobody is talking about. Energy recovery in the 2026 era makes braking zones politically important. Not politically like Twitter drama, politically like engine departments versus aero departments versus drivers fighting inside the same team. Because energy isn't free anymore, it's managed. And the moment teams start optimizing how the car harvests and deploys, drivers will feel it in the pedal and in the corner entry. MGUK deployment is capped, energy storage limits exist, and managing state of charge becomes a lap-by-lap chess match. So now picture this. A driver wants a stable brake pedal and predictable deceleration, but the team wants maximum harvesting and perfect energy targets. And the aero department wants aggressive trim changes to win on straights. All three of those can pull the car in different directions. Who survives that better? The driver who needs everything calm and perfect, or the driver who can adapt instantly? Max has made a career out of adapting instantly. Another interrupt. What happens when everyone has more electric power, but the driver can't place the car exactly where it needs to be? That's the part fans miss. Power is useless if you can't position, and positioning is built in braking zones. Because late braking isn't just defense, it's control over the line. It's forcing someone to compromise their entry. It's making them lift earlier. It's stealing their exit. And the best part? You can do it without crashing anyone. You just remove options. Suddenly your rival is choosing a bad line that you made inevitable. Now we're deep into Act 2, so let me say it clean. In 2026, the best brakers will control the entire race rhythm. Not because the cars will stop slower, because the cars will demand more decisions, more precision, more energy strategy, while still racing wheel to wheel. And that's where Verstappen becomes a nightmare matchup. Because he's not just late on the brakes, he's late and composed. He brakes, rotates, and exits like the corner owes him money. And when you combine that with systems like active aero and new overtaking modes, the margins get smaller and the punishment for hesitation gets bigger. Okay, second subscribe moment, and this one's identity-based. If you enjoy this level of breakdown, the stuff that actually decides championships, you're not a casual fan. You're one of the few people who can watch a braking trace and immediately see a power shift. That's exactly why you're here. Now I want a real argument in the comments, because lurking is illegal on this channel. In the 2026 era, who wins more races? The best late breaker or the best energy manager? And don't give me the safe answer. Pick one. Defend it. Make enemies. Because now we move to Act 3, and this is where the story flips. Everyone thinks the 2026 era will create new stars. And it will. But not the way you think. The real winners won't be the guys who look fast when the car is perfect. The real winners will be the ones who can manufacture lap time when the car is not perfect. When the tyres are narrow, the grip is inconsistent, the aero state is changing, and the team is begging you to hit an energy target while fighting someone into turn 1. That's not talent. That's violence with a steering wheel. And Max Verstappen's braking technique, his ability to control balance, rotation, and commitment, might be the single most transferable advantage into 2026. Here's the scary consequence. Late braking will matter more, because overtaking will depend on it more. With doctors replaced by new concepts and drivers managing speed/grip configurations, the pass won't always be easy on the straight. It'll be, can you arrive alongside and own the braking zone without losing the car? Because if you can't, you'll get stuck behind someone all race, watching them recharge and defend, while your tyres slowly die. And now the political part. 2026 brings new manufacturers, new partnerships, and a massive shake-up in who gets power right. And when teams are uncertain about power, they fall back to the one thing that wins races even in chaos. The driver who can take time under braking. That's why you'll see a quiet trend. Teams will stop obsessing only over top speed and start hunting drivers who can do the impossible at corner entry. Because braking performance is the one place where you can steal time even if your car isn't the fastest overall package. Now let's land the payoff. Max Verstappen in 2026 isn't just chasing another title. He's entering a regulation set that could amplify his strongest trait, his ability to turn pressure into precision. And if rivals can't match him in braking zones, they won't just lose positions, they'll lose confidence. And when drivers lose confidence in braking, they stop attacking, they start managing, they start surviving. And that's when Max starts winning championships by breaking people mentally, without ever touching them. Optional third subscribe moment, framed like a journey. If you want the next chapter of this 2026 puzzle, who benefits, who suffers, and which teams are quietly building a monster, then you already know this channel is basically your home. Now here's the smooth final CTA, because this story doesn't end here. The next piece of the puzzle is the 2026 power fight, because braking dominance is lethal, but only if the car gives you the right deployment windows to finish the job. So click the next video on your screen about the 2026 regulation power shift, because once you see how energy maps and overtaking modes connect to braking zones, you'll never watch an F1 overtake the same way again.